You know what day it is. It is Tagalog Thursday. We are going to be learning some very interesting things tonight. Very useful phrases, I think, that you'll be able to use in everyday conversation. Let me go ahead and just make sure everyone is here with us. Go ahead and write where you are watching from if you can hear me. And let me know. Okay, good. I think it's working. Let me know maybe how old you are or even why you are learning Tagalog. Hang on one moment. Let me just grab everyone here. Hang on one second. Again, my whole presentation is up on my YouTube channel. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hello, everybody. Welcome. You know what day it is. It is Tagalog Thursday, and I'm so happy to be here with you. We are going to be learning some very useful things today. I think you'll enjoy it. You'll be able to use what we learn in everyday conversation, literally. Today we're learning common Tagalog phrases that you can use in a conversation. If you can hear me, go ahead and write in the comments where you are watching from. Write maybe how old you are, and why you are learning Tagalog. I just want to make sure you can hear me, okay? This whole presentation is up on my YouTube channel. And let me just make sure everyone is with me here on YouTube. Again, you can follow along. Everything is written out on my YouTube channel. I have those slides on there. The recording will be up there too if you happen to, if you have to leave or something. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So, this is the agenda for today. We're going to be learning conversational Tagalog phrases. So things like, hello, how are you? But also how to respond to questions like that. Also some other common phrases that you can use in a conversation, you'll see. While we're learning that, we will also talk about different verb tense variations. And then we will talk about how to make these phrases respectful by adding po. Go ahead again, right where you are watching from. I'm just going to get a drink of water and then we'll get started. Thank you so much, everyone who's tuning in. Oh, let me just catch up. Henry is from Australia. Oh, let's see. Cause is from LA, California. Evil Dad is from Vegas. I hope you're not really evil. Mrox is from Massachusetts. Bernie is also from LA. NYC Chris says, how to say hello in the Philippines. We'll actually talk about that. Someone else, I forgot. Let's see. Someone here. Shaim is from the UK. Kevin is from California. My fiance is Filipina. Well, congratulations. And then hello over here on TikTok. Welcome. Okay, and then YouTube, you guys are over here as well. Again, you can follow along to this whole presentation on my YouTube channel. So again, we are learning conversational phrases. Let's just start with the very basic phrase in Tagalog. You might already know it. It's, kumusta ka? Hello, how are you? Kumusta ka? If you're following along, you will see that it is spelled K-U-M. Kumusta ka? But in common conversation, natural or native Tagalog speakers will naturally say kamusta ka with an A sound. Kamusta ka. Even when they are texting their friends, they might say kamusta ka, again with an A. But technically, the correct grammatical way is with a U. Kumusta ka. Okay? So again, that means hello, how are you? Kumusta ka? And you might just hear it shortened to just kumusta, kumusta. Okay? Now, let's see what your responses can be. Anyone know, what do you think the responses can be? Oh, thank you, Burman, for the badge on TikTok. Thank you so much. So, here are just some example responses. So if someone says, kumusta ka? Hello, how are you? You can say, Mabuti naman. I'm doing well. Mabuti naman. So mabuti means good. Naman doesn't really have an English translation. It's more just like a sentence marker that it changes the tone of a phrase. Sometimes it adds emphasis, like, ang init naman, it's so hot. But here, when you're saying mabuti naman, it's just changing the tone to kind of make it softer, a little bit more casual. Like, I'm doing well, I'm all right, I'm good, right? It's not just, I'm good, right? Mabuti naman is like you're easing into it. Like, I'm good. Okay, I don't know how else to explain it. Does that kind of make sense? So if you're doing well, if someone asks you, oh, kumusta ka? You would say, mabuti naman, I'm doing well. Another response you could say is, ayos lang, I'm doing okay, I'm doing all right. Ayos lang. Ayos literally means to fix, or something is like not broken. So when you say like ayos lang, it's like I'm doing all right. So that's just like a little bit more casual than mabuti naman. You could say ayos lang. If you're not doing well, you would say hindi maayos. Not doing well, hindi maayos. And then if you want to ask an elderly how they are, you would add po. To do this, it would be kumusta po kayo. So casually, if you're just talking to your friend, it would be kumusta ka? Kumusta ka? Hey, how are you? Kumusta ka? But to be respectful when talking to elders or to people in authority, people always ask, like, what are people in authority? Who is that? That can be your teacher, police, your boss, usually like guests as well. So it's like they're not necessarily in authority, but you want to be respectful towards guests. So these are the people you would use po with. Okay, so of course the elderly, so your grandparents or anyone's grandparents, anyone older than you, definitely use po. You may or may not hear people using po with their parents. Some people choose to be casual with their parents. My mom and I, we are very casual. I don't always use po with her, but definitely with her siblings, like with my aunts and uncles. It's not that I don't want to be respectful to my mom, but it's just that we are casual that way. And a lot of people are that way. But similarly, a lot of people are very respectful and they will use po to their parents as well. Okay, so it's just kind of gauge it, read the room. But when in doubt, use po, right? Whenever you're meeting someone for the first time, use po. It's better to be overly respectful than not respectful enough, right? You only get one first impression. And I mean, what's the worst that can happen? They'll be like, oh, you don't have to use po with me, I'm not that old. So then don't use it anymore, right? So when in doubt, use po. So you might be wondering, if you're following along on YouTube, again, this whole presentation is up there. How do you go from kumusta ka to kumusta po kayo? So why do we use kayo? Kayo is the plural you pronoun in Tagalog. Okay? So ka is you, how are you? Kayo is how are you all? So even if you're just talking to one person, whenever you want to be respectful in Tagalog, you have to refer to that one person as you all. It's just a way to be respectful. They do that in other languages as well. They do that in French. I remember when I took French, that was something we had to kind of practice. So again, whenever you're using po, you have to use the plural you pronoun, which in this phrase is kayo. Okay? So, kamusta ka? Hello, how are you? Kamusta po kayo means how are you respectfully. Okay? And again, here are the responses. So if someone says, oh, kamusta ka? Hello, how are you? Kamusta ka? You would say, oh, mabuti naman, I'm doing well. mabuti naman. Or ayos lang, I'm doing okay, I'm doing all right. Ayos lang. Or hindi maayos. I'm not doing well, hindi maayos. Okay? Hello, magandang gabi. Hi, Charles. Magandang gabi. That means good evening. If you have any questions, go ahead and write it in the comments. I'm just going to read up here. Let's see. Yes. Okay, so Dark God Hades said, is it mabuti po to elders? Yes. So we talked about how to add po to the question, kumusta ka? Kumusta po kayo? But if you want to be respectful in your response, yes, you would add po in there. Usually, po is the second word. Mabuti po or ayos po, maayos po. When in doubt, add po to the end of anything you say and it will cover your bases, right? It will work. So, for our responses, it would be mabuti naman po, ayos lang po, or hindi po maayos. Okay? So again, anytime you're talking to elders, add po. So in the responses, it would be mabuti naman po, or ayos lang po, or hindi po maayos. So in that third example, po would be the second word. But in the first and second example responses, po is the last word. And there are certain placements of po. A lot of times it depends on like where the pronoun is or its relationship to the verb. But sometimes also if it's a set phrase, po would just go at the very end of that. And mabuti naman is a set phrase. Ayos lang is a set phrase. So po goes at the end of that. Very good question. I do have a full-length Tagalog lesson video on how to use po. Very interesting. There's a lot of practice there. Let's see. Okay. Yes, so Dark God Hades also asked later on, is it disrespectful if you don't use po? Some would say yes. Like if you are talking to your grandma or like someone very highly regarded and you don't use po, some would say it is disrespectful. You know, you don't want to be too casual with people who deserve a lot of respect. In the Filipino culture, respect is a very like highly regarded thing. But then again, there are times when people would just say, oh, you don't have to use po with me. Or, you know, if you feel very comfortable with an older person, that's also acceptable as well. But when in doubt, use po, okay? Especially when you're learning, go ahead and use po. They're going to say, wow, you're so respectful. Let's see. Hi, Leka. Oh, no. Leka says, I follow you because I want to learn Tagalog, but I'm breaking up with my mahal ko. Why? Well, best wishes to you guys. Let's see. Oh, someone said they learned Ilocano. I think Dark, God, that was you again. Hi from India. Okay. Arian said they are Mexican and half Filipino. Hello. And thank you so much for the badge. Thank you. Oh, let's see. This is a good question. John said, how do you greet my fiance, or how would I greet my fiance's relatives if I'm the older one? In that case, you do not have to say po, right? That happened to me. I met my husband's family. He has cousins who are younger than us. You don't have to say po. Just be respectful. Just be kind. Be funny or whatever. You know, you don't have to say po if they're younger than you. Just say, oh, kumusta ka? Ayos lang, mabuti naman. You know, just, you don't have to say po if they're younger than you. Okay? Let's see. Excalibur on YouTube says, I was adopted by the Philippines community. now I'm officially Filipino, but I have nosebleed. Or do you mean you cause nosebleed? So when someone in the Philippines says, I'm getting nosebleed or nano-nosebleed ako, what does that mean? Write it in the comments. What does it mean if someone is getting nosebleed? We'll talk about it. Okay, any questions about how to use kamusta ka? Easy, right? That is the most, I feel like that's Tagalog 101. Everyone knows that. So again, that just means, hello, how are you? Kamusta ka? Now, this next phrase is how you would use kamusta when you're asking about something or someone else, right? So, kamusta ka means, hello, how are you? But you could also use this phrase, kamusta ang blank? How was blank? For example, kamusta ang meeting mo kanina? Kamusta ang meeting mo kanina? And I would actually use kamusta yung meeting mo kanina, but just to make it easy, I'm using ang, okay? But essentially, this means, how was your meeting earlier? So do you see how we are using this word kamusta in a different context? Interesting, right? So you might know kamusta as just hello, how are you? But you can actually use it in different contexts. It just means how was or how is something. So, kamusta ang meeting mo kanina? How was your meeting earlier? Here's another example. Kamusta ang araw mo? Kamusta ang araw mo? Araw means day. It can also mean the sun. But this translates to, how is your day going? How is your day? Kamusta ang araw mo? Or you might say, kamusta ang biyahe mo? Biyahe is your trip. Literally like a journey. But if someone is going on a vacation or something, or traveling, someone might say, kamusta ang biyahe mo? How is your trip? Okay? Let's take a look at this phrase, kamusta ang araw mo? How was your day? How is your day? Your responses to that would be the same responses that you would say to the question, kumusta ka? How are you? Oh, mabuti naman. It's going well. I am doing well. So it's the same kind of response. Kumusta ang araw mo? Mabuti naman. It's going well. Or, kumusta yung biyahe mo? Mabuti naman. It was okay. So usually you can use the same responses for these types of questions. Okay? Let's see. Yes, so if you're following along on YouTube, sorry. If you're following along on YouTube, you'll see that I have it written out here again. Just that the responses are the same to the questions, kumusta ka? And kumusta ang araw mo? Let me take a look here. Someone on YouTube said, it's very similar to Spanish. Yes, it is. So you will see a lot of similarities between Tagalog and Spanish because Spain colonized the Philippines for over 300 years. So there's a lot of influence on Tagalog from Spanish. And you'll also see it in the Filipino culture through the food, through the traditions, everything. It's a lot in the names, just everything, okay? Very good observation. So, going back to this question, kumusta ang araw mo? Again, if you want to be respectful, if you're talking to your grandma and you just came home or something, you might say, oh Lola, which is grandma in Tagalog. Lola, kumusta po ang araw nyo? How was your day? Or how is your day going? Kumusta po ang araw nyo? Now in this case, nyo is the plural you pronoun that is replacing mo. Mo is the singular you pronoun. Remember, anytime we're using po, we have to use the plural you pronoun. Okay? If you're just jumping on to Instagram or TikTok, again, this whole presentation is up on my YouTube channel. Okay? And you can follow along. Oh, this is totally unrelated, but just because I saw this comment and I don't want to forget it, let's answer it. Not Bad Dad asked, why does my friend say his, him, and he when he's talking about his female sibling? Oh, I love this question. Why does my friend say his, him, and he when he's talking about his female sibling? Does anyone know? I'll tell you. In Tagalog, the word sibling is kapatid. Kapatid, that means sibling. But it's a gender-neutral word, meaning it doesn't decipher whether or not you're talking about your sister or your brother. It's gender-neutral. If you wanted to be specific, you would have to add the gender. Kapatid na babae, sibling who is a girl. Kapatid na lalaki, sibling who is a boy. And further, like a little bit more into that, the pronoun for he or she or it is one word. Siya. Kumakain siya. She is eating. Kumakain siya. He is eating. Kumakain siya. It is eating. So the fact that all of these different pronouns in English, he, she, it, is only covered by one Tagalog pronoun, that makes it a little bit confusing when it's being translated. Okay, so I know in a lot of Tagalog jokes or like Filipino jokes, a lot of times when people are imitating the accent or imitating someone who is Filipino, they will usually mix up those pronouns. Like he is doing this or she is doing this, even though they're talking about the opposite, sex there. So, yes, on YouTube, someone was like, because there's no different gender. Yep, everyone is just kind of lumped into this one pronoun, unfortunately. But also it kind of, in a way I read about it, it's like it's just unifying. As a culture, we have this mindset that everyone is just kind of the same, So that's the long answer to your question, why are these pronouns mixed up? It's because in Tagalog, they're only represented by the one pronoun. Very interesting. Okay, let's keep going here. This next phrase that we are learning is, I'm going to call it a greeting because we hear it all the time. As soon as you come in through the door, someone is going to say, oh, kumain ka na ba? Have you eaten yet? Kumain ka na ba? So, kumain means to eat. Actually, it's the past tense, so ate. Ka is referring to you. Na ba means already. So, kumain ka na ba? Have you eaten already? Have you eaten yet? Okay? And your responses could be, oo, tapos na. Oo, tapos na. Yes, already done. Or, hindi pa, not yet. Hindi pa. Or, mamaya na lang, maybe later. Mamaya na lang. Okay, so again, kumain ka na ba? Have you eaten already? Have you eaten yet? Your responses could be, oo, tapos na. Yes, already done. Or, hindi pa, not yet. Hindi pa. Or, mamaya na lang, maybe later. Mamaya na lang. If you're asking someone else who's older than you, if they have already eaten, it would be, kumain na po ba kayo? Lolo, kumain na po ba kayo? Lolo, have you eaten yet? Okay? So again, there's that po. Technically, the rule here is that po goes after the word na anytime it appears in a phrase. So, kumain na po ba kayo? Have you eaten already? Respectfully. Hands up if you hear that all the time, right? Like as soon as you come home or as soon as you step into someone's house when you're visiting them, it's always, oh, have you eaten? Food is definitely a love language for Filipinos, for a lot of them. So I asked you earlier, what does it mean when someone says, nano-nosebleed ako? Nano-nosebleed ako. So in Tagalog, someone might say, oh, nano-nosebleed ako. That usually means they are having a hard time with your English. Right? So if someone is speaking a lot of English and a native Tagalog speaker can't really keep up, they don't really know what you're saying, or it's hard for them to keep up with what you're trying to tell them. Yes, Jay on Insta. Hard for them to speak or understand English. It's just kind of one of those phrases. It's like, oh no, I'm having a hard time. It doesn't literally mean they're having a nosebleed, but it's like an expression. I think I read one time that it came from anime. I don't know if you're an anime fan, but apparently when a character gets overwhelmed, they have like a nosebleed. I read that somewhere. Okay, let's keep going. Oh, Mrs. Gail Boyd said, were you born in the Philippines or in the US? Pinanganak ako sa Maynila, tapos lumipat kami dito sa States nung 2 taon lang ako. So I was born in Manila and I moved here to the States when I was 2. Okay, this is another useful phrase. Let's jump right back in. Anong ginagawa mo? Anong ginagawa mo? Ano means what? Ginagawa means doing. Mo is related to you. So, anong ginagawa mo? What are you doing? What are you doing? So, if you're calling up your friend, you could say, oh, anong ginagawa mo? Or maybe you're walking by someone and they look really busy. You could say, anong ginagawa mo? What are you doing? Here are different ways to respond to that. Nagluluto ako. I'm cooking. So if someone calls you up and is like, oh, anong ginagawa mo? Nagluluto ako. I'm cooking. Nagluluto ako. Or kumakain ako. I am eating. Kumakain ako. Lucky said, thank you, teacher. Maliligo ako. They're gonna go take a shower. Bye. Thank you for letting everybody know. Okay, so anong ginagawa mo? What are you doing? Nagtatrabaho ako. I'm working. Nagtatrabaho ako. I just have to stop because Rayban248 on Insta said, are you still in high school? Let's say yes. Let's pretend and say yes. Okay, I am in the 12th grade, 18 years old, about to graduate from high school. Thank you. So, anong ginagawa mo? Naglilinis ako. I'm cleaning. Naglilinis ako. Another thing you could say, this example, this response is interesting. I'm going to share it with you. Nagda-drive ako. Nagda-drive ako. Now, you might be wondering, why is this in the list? It's Taglish. Because I want you to use Taglish anytime you need to. There will be people out there who are very pure Tagalog enthusiasts, and that's great. But if you are learning Tagalog, I don't want you to get hung up on one word, okay? If you need to use Taglish, go ahead and do it. And here's an example of how to do that. When someone asks you, anong ginagawa mo, but you don't know a verb in Tagalog, say it in English. Nagda-drive ako. All you have to do is add nag, that's the prefix, nag. Then repeat the first syllable, nagda-drive ako. And then add the English word in there. Nagda-drive ako. Or nag-i-eat ako. I'm eating. Nag-i-eat ako. Or Nag-clean ako. I'm cleaning. Nag-clean ako. Then, later, go back and figure out what that word is in Tagalog so that you can say the whole phrase in Tagalog. Kumakain ako, naglilinis ako, nagmamaneho ako. Okay? So again, don't get too nervous about having to speak complete Tagalog. You'll get there. You will, I promise you. But in the meantime, while you are learning more vocabulary, go ahead and use English and then go back and figure out the words that you don't know. Okay? Now, if we want to be respectful and we want to ask an elderly person what they are doing, it would be, anong ginagawa niyo po? Anong ginagawa niyo po? So what are you doing respectfully? Po would just go at the end. Okay? Here is another phrase that you might use. Let's see. I just want to catch up on some of these comments. Chris said, this is nice. I am watching, but my wife is Bisaya. So Bisaya is another language. Some would say it's a dialect. It's completely different from Tagalog. I know because my husband's family speaks Bisaya. And when they're speaking, I only understand very, very little. It's completely different. Lots of different vocabulary, different sentence structures. It's different. So yeah, if you're trying to learn Bisaya, that's completely different. But knowing Tagalog is very helpful as well. Okay, the next phrase that we'll learn is saan ka pupunta? Saan ka pupunta? This means where are you going? Saan ka pupunta? Saan means where. Ka is referring to you. Pupunta means going. It's future tense for to go. The response is pupunta ako sa blank. I am going blank. I'm going somewhere. For example, pupunta ako sa tindahan. I'm going to the store. Pupunta ako sa tindahan. Or, pupunta ako sa banyo. Pupunta ako sa banyo. Banyo is bathroom. What's another word for bathroom in Tagalog? Hint, it's not even a word, it's 2 letters. In Tagalog, you might hear someone say, pupunta ako sa blank. What's another word for bathroom? Yes! On TikTok, your name is just heart. It's like a heart. CR. CR is bathroom in Tagalog. It literally stands for comfort room. Yes, not bad dad, cruisin', Tress, yes, Mahal and Moon, CR, yes, D Harder 7-Eleven, yes, exactly, Ian and Charles. So in Tagalog, you might hear someone say, pupunta ako sa CR. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. CR is comfort room, and that's just been incorporated into the Filipino culture. When someone says CR, or if you see that like on a door in a restaurant and it says CR, I want you to know that that's the bathroom, and it stands for comfort room. Okay? All right. Another example, pupunta ako sa, I'm going to, pupunta ako sa bahay ni Kuya JR. I'm going to Kuya JR's house. Pupunta ako sa bahay ni Kuya JR. Okay, what I want you to get from this is just this sentence structure. Saan ka pupunta? Pupunta ako sa blank. And this is a really useful word or phrase to start using tonight or today, whatever time or day it is where you are. Maybe right before you're about to go to bed and your husband or wife or boyfriend or girlfriend gets up to go to the bathroom, you're like, hey, saan ka pupunta? Ask them that. They're going to be like, what? Where did you learn that? Saan ka pupunta? If someone is leaving the room, ask them that. Saan ka pupunta? Where are you going? And they might say, pupunta ako sa CR. Or pupunta ako sa kitchen, right? You can even start using that phrase too. Just stand up and say, pupunta ako sa banyo. Announce that you are going to the bathroom. They're going to be like, what? Okay, goodbye. Let's keep going. Oh, someone might say, sama ako. Sama ako. I'll come too. So if they're like, pupunta ako sa tindahan, I'm going to the store, you might say, oh, sama ako. I'll come too. Sama means to be with. Ako means I. So I want to be with you. I want to come along, come with you. Sama ako. Next time someone says that around you, or like someone says, hey, I'm going to the store, say, sama ako. I want to come. Sama ako. And then here's just a question that you might ask. Anong oras ka uuwi? Anong oras ka uuwi? Ano means what? Oras is time. Ka is referring to you. Uuwi means to go home. So what time are you going home? What time are you coming home? So if someone is like, oh, pupunta ako sa bahay ni Kuya JR, you might ask, anong oras ka uuwi? What time are you coming home? Okay? Now, to be respectful, this is where you would add po to these questions. So, saan ka pupunta? To be respectful, you would say, saan po kayo pupunta? Okay? And if you wanted to say, pupunta ako sa blank, respectfully, it would be, pupunta po ako sa blank. Alright? So that's a very useful combo of phrases there. Where are you going? I am going blank. This is kind of the opposite. So if someone is coming through the door, maybe coming home from somewhere, you would say, saan ka galing? Saan ka galing? Where are you coming from? Or where did you go? Your response to that would be, galing ako sa blank. I am coming from blank. And it's the same kind of pattern there. Galing ako sa tindahan. I'm coming from the store, or I just went to the store. Galing ako sa tindahan. Or galing ako sa trabaho. Galing ako sa trabaho. I came from work. Or galing ako sa bahay ni Kuya JR. I am coming from Kuya JR's house. Okay? So, saan ka pupunta? Where are you going? Saan ka galing? Where are you coming from? Or where did you go? Okay? So maybe tonight, if your significant other walks through your bedroom door, just ask, hey, saan ka galing? Where are you coming from? They're gonna say, from downstairs. Galing ako sa living room. So, to be respectful with these phrases, it would simply be, saan po kayo galing? Saan ka galing? Saan po kayo galing? Or, galing ako sa blank. Galing po ako sa tindahan. Charles said, if someone asks that question to you, saan ka galing? I think he's trying to say, he said, pakialam mo, meaning it's none of your business. Pakialam mo. All right. Now, let's practice some comprehension. Okay, I love doing this activity. All I want you to do is listen, and I want to see if you can understand what I'm saying, okay? You might surprise yourself. You probably know more than you think you do if you've been studying Tagalog for a little while. So, when you're listening, focus on words that you know. Try to pick out some sentence structures that sound familiar. Also, take a listen for like my pronunciation. That might help you when you're trying to speak Tagalog as well. Okay? So here we go. Try to listen. Kumusta? Start over. Sorry, I got too excited. Kumusta ang araw mo ngayon? Kumusta ang araw mo ngayon? Mabuti naman, naglaro kami ng mga bata sa labas. Nanood din kami ng pelikula at kumain ng popcorn. Tapos, nagluto ako ng pork chops. At sa huli, naglinis ako ng bahay. What do you think? So again, we are doing a listening comprehension activity right here. So, what do you think I said? Kumusta ang araw mo ngayon? Mabuti naman. Naglaro kami ng mga bata sa labas. Nanood din kami ng pelikula at kumain ng popcorn. Tapos, nagluto ako ng pork chops. At sa huli, naglinis ako ng bahay. What did I say? What do you think? What do you think? Okay, let's break it down. Julio said, I understood a little. That's okay. You gotta start somewhere, right? Yes! Melissa on TikTok said, how was your day? I cooked outside. I went to a movie and ate pork chops, then I think you meant I ate popcorn, then I cooked pork chops. Very close, very close. Yes. Harold said, cleaning the house. Playing outside. Yes, we're getting all the little bits and pieces. Let's break it down. First, the question, kumusta ang araw mo ngayon? How was your day today? Kumusta yung araw mo ngayon? Ray-Ban said you want me to get you popcorn at the movies. Yes, I would love popcorns at the movies, but that's not quite the translation there. Oh, yes. Julio said, sorry, teacher, listening is a little hard for me. And that's perfectly fine, especially when native Tagalog speakers speak so fast, right? Sometimes it's hard to keep up, but when you're listening, try to focus on the words that you know, right? Okay, let's keep going. Kumusta ang araw mo? How was your day? Mabuti naman. Remember, mabuti naman means it went well, it was good. My day was good. Naglaro kami ng mga bata sa labas. Naglaro means to play. We played. Naglaro kami ng mga bata. Mga bata is kids. Sa labas. Labas means outside. Naglaro kami ng mga bata sa labas. The kids and I played outside. The kids and I played outside. Oh, Charles on YouTube said, we played with the kids outside. Yes, it's kind of the same idea, right? We played with the kids outside. The focus there is more on the kids. Like, we played with the kids versus this one, the focus is on what I am doing. It's focused on the subject, not so much the object of the kids. Anyway, that's so grammatical, but yes, essentially it's the same. Naglaro kami ng mga bata sa labas. We played outside. The kids and I played outside. Nanood din kami ng pelikula. Nanood means to watch. Kami is we. Pelikula is movie. So we also watched a movie. At kumain ng popcorn. And we ate some popcorn. Tapos, nagluto ako ng pork chops. Nagluto is to cook. So, I cooked some pork chops. At sa huli, naglinis ako ng bahay. At sa huli means finally. At sa huli, naglinis ako ng bahay. Naglinis means to clean. Bahay means house. So, finally, I cleaned the house. What did you think? Did you get 100%? Did you get 50%? Or are you more like a 10% understanding? And I think these kinds of activities like listening comprehension is really good for certain types of learning. Like, you may not know all of the vocabulary, but it tells you what you do know and what you don't know. Also, it's a good way to pick out grammar patterns. And also, you can listen out for some pronunciation techniques. Okay, I'm going to say it one more time. See if you can try to understand it now that you know the whole translation. Kumusta ang araw mo ngayon? Mabuti naman. Naglaro kami ng mga bata sa labas. Nanood din kami ng pelikula at kumain kami ng popcorn. Tapos nagluto ako ng pork chops. At sa huli, naglinis ako ng bahay. Ruth on YouTube said, I got like 5% crying face. No need to cry. It's okay. It's okay. You can only go up from here, right? Alejandro said, Lodi, have a very great day. Thank you. Thank you. You too. Oh, yes. Nice. Heart on TikTok got 70%. Yes. Very nice. Okay. So, one thing I want to point out, if you're following along on YouTube, I highlighted these transition words. So these words are the ones that kind of connect sentences together to help it flow. So I highlighted here, din. Din means also. So nanood din kami ng pelikula. We also watched a movie. At means and. So, nanood din kami ng pelikula at kumain kami ng popcorn. So, and. Tapos means then, right? Tapos, nagluto ako ng pork chops, then. And then, at sa huli, yes, someone on TikTok said, that really means lastly, not finally. So, lastly, I cleaned the house. Okay? So, if depending on how into Tagalog you are, like your learning level, maybe you are at a point where you want to make your conversations flow a little bit better, use these transition words, right? You can say at for and, tapos meaning then, at sa huli, lastly. Okay, so these are just some tips to help your conversation or your phrases flow a little bit better. Sweet Caroline on YouTube said, 10%, LOL. That's okay. It's perfectly fine. Alrighty. Yes, mahirap ang Tagalog. Your name on TikTok is characters. I don't know what that says. But someone on TikTok said, mahirap ang Tagalog. Tagalog is hard. It can be hard. Someone said the grammar for Tagalog is like Yoda speak. If you break down the Tagalog grammar, it is kind of like how Yoda speaks. Like, for example, if you're saying, kumakain ako, kumakain is the verb, ako is the subject. So the verb comes first. It's almost like you're saying, eating I am. Interesting, right? That is how Yoda speaks. Eating I am, or malamig ako, or nilalamigan ako, I am cold. cold I am, right? So it's very interesting. So that's one of the reasons why Tagalog is difficult, because the grammar is not the same as English. So it's kind of just this whole new pattern that you have to learn, along with vocabulary, along with pronunciation. But my biggest tip for anyone who's learning Tagalog is use vocabulary little by little. Okay, what I mean by that is start with Taglish. So if you want to say, I am eating rice. Maybe you don't know the whole phrase yet, but you know ako. So that's a bad example. Maybe rice. So you know the word rice is kanin. I am eating kanin, right? We are just switching out one word at a time. I am eating kanin. Then switch out eat. You can say, I am kain kanin. You know that's not quite the correct conjugation, but you're getting there. Then you just kind of gotta learn the full phrase. Kumakain ako ng kanin. I am eating rice. So my biggest tip is use Tagalog little by little. Insert Tagalog anytime you want to, like, Ian, yes, I'll get to that in a second. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is just kind of use the vocabulary words you know, use full phrases, and really try to incorporate it into your everyday conversations so that you can start to get used to using them on a daily basis. Ian said there are multiple words for rice in Tagalog. You're exactly right. There's a word for cooked rice. There's a word for uncooked rice. There's a word for rice that's like fresh from the rice field. There's sticky rice, sweet rice, so many different types of words for rice. You're exactly right. So just to review, this is everything we learned tonight. We learned conversational Tagalog phrases. We also learned verb tenses like past tense, present tense, because some of the phrases that we learned had that kind of built in, and then we talked about some different examples. We also talked about po placement. Anytime you are wanting to be respectful to your elderly, like family members, or to authority, right? So again, if you want to review all of the phrases that we learned, you can watch the replay of this. The whole presentation is up on my YouTube channel, and feel free to leave comments on like questions or anything you have questions about, and I will try to answer. In the meantime, does anyone have any interesting comments or questions or any special announcements? I'm just gonna catch up on some of these phrases. Yes, Rick on TikTok said seeing the full phrases on a whiteboard would help. Everything is written out again on my presentation on YouTube. You'll be able to find it there. My 5-year-old niece said, I must speak Tagalog as I am in the Philippines, not America, David said. Luckily, a lot of Filipinos speak English, right? There are definitely different levels of it, but oftentimes they learn English in Tagalog. But it's very helpful to know Tagalog as well, because not everyone is comfortable speaking English. A lot of it is also lost in translation. So it's very helpful to know Tagalog, especially if you're in the Philippines. Yes. Oh, Jason on TikTok said, I love your videos. They help me learn Tagalog for my Filipino wife. Oh, that's so nice. Jacob said, do I know other Philippine languages? I do not. My family, a lot of them, like my mom and my dad, they have family in Bicol. So if I were to learn another language, I think that's what it would have been, like Bicolano. But no one speaks that around me. So I think that's one. I think another language that I would learn is maybe Cebuano or Bisaya, because my husband's family is from there. They're from Cebu. And I mentioned this earlier. Bisaya is completely different from Tagalog. Whenever his family is speaking Bisaya around me, I just don't understand it. It really is different. They have different vocabulary, different phrases, different sentence structures. They have a lot more Spanish words, surprisingly. But yes, there's so many different languages in the Philippines. Yes. Oh my goodness, yes. Dominique said, are there words in Tagalog that don't have an English translation? Yes, there are so many. Kilig, that's the first one that comes to mind. Kilig is like when you're really giddy from something that is really romantic. That doesn't really have an English translation. A similar word is gigil. That's like the feeling of super cute. Like when something is super, super cute, like a baby, it's like, oh, nakakagigil. They are so cute. It makes me want to, like, I don't know how else to explain it. What else? There are so many words. I even had a list of those words, like English words or Tagalog words that don't have an English translation. But yes, there's so many. But even in English, there are some words that don't have a direct Tagalog translation. You have to explain the concept of it, right? Let's see, what else? Yes, Marty was like, cuteness, aggression. That's what gigil is. Excuse me. Yes. Rapid Sequence said, nga doesn't have an English meaning. So, nga, N-G-A, is more like, it's one of those words that's added to a phrase to change the tone. Like, oo nga, yes, I know, right? Like, man, we should have won that game. Oo nga, we were so close, or something like that. Or, sabi ko nga, I said so, I told you. Like, hey, I thought we were leaving tonight. Oo nga, sabi ko nga. Yes, that's what I said. So yep, nga is one of those words. Let's see. Ruth asked on YouTube, did you grow up learning Tagalog and English at the same time, or did you learn Tagalog or English first and then the second one later? So my parents only spoke to me in Tagalog. Only. And that was, I think, because they just were more comfortable with that. Like, they were just more comfortable speaking Tagalog. So why would they speak English at home if they don't have to? So I only grew up hearing Tagalog at home. I think I can count on one hand how many times my parents spoke to me in English. And it was probably because they were angry with me. But yes, so there were times growing up when I spoke more English towards them, and my mom would kind of rein me back in. She would be like, hey, you're not speaking a lot of Tagalog, or Tagalogin mo, say it in Tagalog. And then I would kind of go back to saying it in Tagalog. But don't be, you might be surprised, because there was a time when I was just speaking English, like I said, and I lost my Tagalog accent, or like I would forget words, my grammar would be all off. And I think that was when I was like a teenager, maybe like middle school, high school. But then we got the Filipino channel, and I was watching so many Filipino shows and movies, and that really helped me like get my Tagalog back. So if you knew Tagalog but then you lost it, I think you can get it back. I know for sure that you can. It's in there. It's just a matter of like pulling that information back out, getting your muscle memory back in your like pronunciation, and you'll get back. You'll get there. But yes, that question kind of comes up a lot with like people who want to teach their kids Tagalog. Like maybe you know Tagalog and you want to teach your kids Tagalog. It's like, how do I do that? Should I speak only Tagalog with them? Should I start with English and then transition to Tagalog? Should I try to do both? Honestly, do what works best for you. Okay, I have 4 kids, and only now am I really trying to teach them Tagalog. For some, it really works to start with Tagalog from the get-go, and your kid will latch on, will get it right away. But for my kids, we kind of had to teach them English first so that they could kind of survive preschool. Their teachers were like, maybe if we could teach more English because they're kind of not listening. So, whatever works for you, whatever works for your family. But what really helps is using Tagalog phrases in your everyday actions. Or it's like, okay, kain na tayo, let's go eat. Or magbihis ka na, go get changed, And then again, later on, they will develop more and more. Oh, yes. Kathlina said, Ate Pat, how would I say keep the change? So keep the change. Again, this is one of those phrases like in English, right? You know what that means. But if you say it in Tagalog, they're not going to know what you mean. So keep the change. It's like, I would say like, sa'yo na yung sukli. Sa inyo na yung sukli. Sukli is your change, like the leftover money when you break a bill. Sa'yo na means it's yours. Keep the change. You keep the extra money. Let's see, a couple more questions. Let's see, what else? Oh, JC Murray, thank you so much for the badge. Richard asked, it shouldn't be hard, right, when you live with a Filipina? I guess it depends. So some people are like, my parents can speak to me in Tagalog, but I can't speak back. So it's like there are different parts of your brain working whenever you're listening versus when you're trying to speak it. So if your wife is speaking to you in Tagalog 24/7, that's very helpful because you'll learn vocabulary, you will learn, again, grammar patterns, you will learn pronunciation. But you also have to take the initiative to try to speak it out loud. So if your wife is helpful and she can kind of guide you in speaking and making grammar like structures, then yeah, that'll be very helpful. But for some people, they say like, oh, my parents only laugh at me, or my family teases me when I try to speak Tagalog. So in some cases, it's not very helpful, but hopefully your wife is helpful. I'm sure she is. Let's see, any other questions that I can answer? What should we learn in our next Tagalog Live? I actually had these flashcards that I wanted us to go over, but Instagram changed their live setup and I couldn't figure out how to flip my camera, like the mirror option. Usually it's this filter, but the filter wasn't popping up and I wasn't able to browse for more filters. I don't know if someone can help me with that. But yes, so yeah, because we need to be able to read the cards, but when I'm showing it to you now, it's like opposite. It's flipped. So it's backwards. So I got to figure out how to do that so we can use that for next time. Oh, one Haley Momo said, I was told that my Tagalog is matigas. Does anyone know what that means? If someone says, your Tagalog is matigas, what does that mean? Literally, matigas means hard. So if someone says, your Tagalog is matigas, it means like your accent, you have a very strong accent. Right? It's like, it's unnatural for you to speak Tagalog. You can kind of tell that your accent is hard. Which is perfectly fine. I mean, that's not a problem. It's just something that some people might find distracting maybe. But even for me, my accent, my American English accent comes out when I'm nervous, or if I'm speaking too fast, or if I am like if I can't remember exactly what I'm trying to say, like my words, my accent comes out. It's fine. It's not a problem. Alrighty. Oh, yes. Ruth said, I'd love to learn more about the conjugations. Oh, yes. Conjugations can be really, really tricky. We can practice some of that. We can practice, we might have to break it down by verb because there's just so much. So we'll jump into that sometime. And if you want to get a head start, I do have full-length Tagalog lesson videos on my YouTube channel, and they break down the conjugations as well. Yes! One Hele Momo said, at least I'm learning. Exactly. That's the main point, right? Forget about all the haters and things like that. Oh, yes. BSL said, my accent sucks when speaking. I have a hard time saying certain words. Yeah. Especially my tip for accents, right, is to practice it. Practice. It's really just a matter of like your muscle memory, your tongue placement, and like your lips. Like sometimes in English, our lips are so focused here. Like it's for certain words, your lips can be very narrow. But in Tagalog, we have to stretch out our mouths. It's different. But just like almost like vocal exercises, like practice making your mouth loose so that it's susceptible to making different kind of sounds. But another thing for practicing pronunciation is speak slowly. Okay? Anytime you get nervous, slow yourself down, think about what you want to say, and say it slowly so that you say it correctly. And I know this works because this is what I do. 100% this is what I do. When I am speaking to my family in the Philippines, sometimes I speak so slowly because I am trying to think of what I want to say. And I don't mean like speaking this slowly, but just don't rush, okay? Try to say what you want to say. Like, oh, Lola, kumain na po ba kayo? Ano po ang gusto niyong kainin? Or, kumain na ako kanina. I ate earlier. Okay, so just break it down. Go slowly. It's not a race. Speed will come later. Okay? Alrighty, well, I had so much fun spending time with you guys tonight. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will catch you in our next live. Paalam!